Good afternoon and welcome to this week's Small Business Town Hall. I'm Sabina Matos. I'm the Lieutenant Governor for the state of Rhode Island. I'm glad that you're joining us today. We have some very important information for all of you, but first of all, I hope that you enjoy this great weekend that we had. I know that Saturday and Sunday were a little bit raining, but we had a great day yesterday. I hope you were able to celebrate the 4th of July on the 5th like we did with the parade in Bristol. Today, I just want to share with everyone that the state of Rhode Island was ahead of everybody else, and we have a 76.7% of individuals vaccinated of those that qualified. We were ahead of the target that President Biden had, which was of 70% by the 4th of July. So good job to all of you out there who had been making sure that you get your shot and to make sure that we can protect everyone. Today, we have different information for you. As always, we have Director Mark Hayward here. We have Director Weldon. And also, we're going to have a presentation from, very important. I have mentioned to you in the past the importance of having ADA compliance in your business. There's a lot of customers out there that want to be your customer, but they cannot be your customer if your business location is not ADA compliance because they cannot get to your business. So we have a lot of good information for you. So as I said, we have Director Mark Hayward, who is the Director of the Small Business Administration from the district office here in Rhode Island. We have Director Matt Weldon, who is from the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training. We're going to have Chris Parisi, who is the founder of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition. And we're going to have Tina Penderson. Tina is the founder and president of Real Access Motivate Progress, RAMP. And with Tina, we're going to have Anthony Santuri. Anthony is the owner of Free Play and Bar Arcade in Providence. And they're going to tell us how making a small modification to your business, you are able to have more customers to come to your business. So as always, we're going to start with Director Mark Hayward, who's going to give us an update on how things are going from the federal programs for here in Rhode Island. So, Director.
Hello, Governor. It's great to see you again. It was great to see you on the parade route yesterday, and I also I heard your speech at the patriotic exercises. Bristol on the 4th of July is second to none. I've done it, as I said to you, for 40, 41, 42 years in a row, with the exception of last year. But it's something that I love, and it was great to see you and the governor during the parade. It was just I love it. It's just a lot of fun.
We love seeing you. It was so nice to see you sitting down all comfortable there.
Waving to everybody who's walking by.
No, it was a great time yesterday. I'm so glad we were able to be there.
That's great. The interesting thing, Governor, is as I walked down the street, some people recognized me. They were coming up and they were asking questions about different SBA programs, even though it was the 4th on the 5th of July, and I was technically off. It really never stops because people always ask. So I do want to bring a couple of things because people have asked a number of questions about where is Rhode Island as it relates to all of the programs. And I just, for PPP round 2, Governor, we finally, that is now closed. It's in the books, and there is 17,282 loans that were done for PPP 2 for $1,161,000, which is a considerable amount. Mm-hmm. For PPP 1, we did approximately 17,000, same number of loans, 17,421 for $1.9 billion. So if you add the two together, mm-hmm. now we're up to approximately just a little over $3 billion. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program is actually a loan. It is not a grant. Mm-hmm. So we have done 11,000 loans for $641 million, which is a significant sum in this state. So if we're adding that up, we're now approximately at $3.7 billion. The other thing that, as part of the EIDL program, there were a couple of grant programs. There was EIDL Advances. There were supplemental targeted EIDL Advance that went to census tract areas for low and moderate income. And through that, we've done $6 million in the advance. We've done approximately $3 million in the supplemental advance for a total of $9.1 million. So we keep adding up the dollars, the influx, because I've always maintained, Governor, that this is a liquidity issue. And you can see the liquidity coming into the Rhode Island small business community. Now, having said that, the biggest issue that I got on the parade route yesterday was the restaurant revitalization fund. The administrator has announced that we're closing the RRF fund. We have done over 100,000 grants to restaurants for $28.6 billion. The average award was $283,000. Rhode Island was a little bit above that, but we have exhausted all of the appropriations. Approximately 461 establishments here in Rhode Island did receive funds. So we can only do what Congress provides to us. And the administrator basically is saying, we have everybody that filed is still in the queue, but we have no more funds. So we're required by law to close out the funds. So it's and I know that there is disappointment out there, Governor. I've had many discussions with restaurateurs on, what do we do? And I think, and I am going to speak to the Rhode Island Hospitality Association as a group and some other people, and we're going to try to figure out how we can help going forward. But I want to remind people that, I know people don't want loans or more debt at this point in time, but the SBA still has a 90% guarantee. We have no fees to the borrower, no fees to the lender. The first 3 months would be paid for if they were looking for a working capital loan. And it's really important, if you need something, now is a great time to try to get it, and the EIDL loans are still available. They're going from $150,000 to $500,000. So Ben just put up the email address, Governor. We're happy to help people. We know that things are still a little bit, and I've expressed to you and to Governor McKee, my concern about hospitality and small retail who have been significantly impacted by COVID and the shutdown. So, we continue. I will tell you that my staff continues to work the best we can to make sure that small business gets what it's needs. But the other thing, Governor, my final point is, I always say that businesses don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. We still have technical assistance resources free of charge to everybody from the Center for Women in Enterprise, from the Rhode Island Small Business Development Center, which is headquartered at the University of Rhode Island, from our volunteers at SCORE, who are probably the best in the nation, and our Veterans Business Outreach Center. Utilize those free resources because we can help an awful lot of people. But Governor, it was great to see you.
Thank you.
You look
Mark.
good, by the way, out there walking the streets.
Thank you. Just so you know, I walked the parade twice.
Twice?
Yes. So me, Billy Kepner from my office, and my husband, we walked the parade twice. So just so you
Very
know.
good.
I think I want to check with Ben. Ben, is there any questions for Mark before he leaves?
No, there's a question. I'm not sure if from the from the private chat.
It says, will Congress fund additional RRF? Again, we're the administrating agency for what Congress had appropriated. We always, all 4 members of the congressional delegation were there yesterday. I've talked to just about everybody. If not, by the end of next week, I will talk to all of them. It really lies within their jurisdiction. I can't predict, and I also can't encourage because we're prohibited from lobbying. But I think everybody understands that there were a lot of applications and not everybody got it. So if you have a question, pick up the phone. The members of Congress are more than happy to talk to anybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. And the
Thanks,
members
Governor.
of Congress were there yesterday on the parade also. Thank you so much. So with that, we're going to go now to Director Matt Weldon to hear, Director Weldon, how things going with DLT? What is new? How things going?
Things are going well, Governor. Thanks for having me. Just quickly, bring everybody up to speed. You know, one of the things that we worked on was changing the unemployment law. We've talked about it a number of times. That allows people to earn more money, keep more of what they earn, stay connected to the unemployment that's provided by the federal government right now, and get back to work. I mean, that's really what we're trying to do, is get people back to work in this economy. We know businesses need workers. We know they need to fill open positions immediately and fill shifts. And that's what that bill was intended to do. And it's working. I've said, and now I've been quoted as saying that I'm an incrementalist. I like to see change, grow a little bit at a time. And I think that sometimes when we try to make changes and have a quick hit, then it falls off. Yeah. What I'd rather see is that we're building like a snowball. Every week we get more and more. And so just a week over week review of information I got this morning tells me that 2,026 people have now been able to earn a payment that wouldn't have been able to earn it without that law change. That means that they've earned more than 100% of their benefit rate from unemployment, but less than 150%. Mm-hmm. They're working. Another 2,369 people have reported to us that they've earned over 150% of their rate. That means that they've gone back to work basically full time. Mm-hmm. So, 4,400 people or so in that group. That's a lot of people. We've made a change in a short period of time, and we couldn't have done it without all the help that we had. 8,000 people, actually 8,006 to be exact, have been able to keep more money because of this change. In the past, you could keep 20% of your benefit rate without any reduction. Now you can keep 50%. So working families in Rhode Island are holding on to that money. We're maximizing their family income, which is absolutely necessary. So 8,000 people. And then another 8,200 people have reported to us that they're working at least part-time. Right. So of the people collecting, 8,200 have said they're working part-time. Those are all good things. Why is that important? Because in 2 months, actually just under 2 months, the federal programs end. And so, I cannot predict the future, but I would suggest that if I could, based on the number of states that have ended these programs, it doesn't look like they're going to continue. But we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm very concerned that we have tens of thousands of Rhode Islanders that won't have benefits if they don't get reconnected to the economy. So that is my number one goal every single day, is to make sure people know that these benefits are necessary, and to make sure to get them through this time, but to make sure they know they got to go back to work. Yes. And so jobs are available. Ask any of the employers that participate in these calls or these sessions. Jobs are open. So that's the other piece of it. And just one more minute on this. We send out a request every single week to people to say, hey, we'd like to see your work search log. We want to see the record you're keeping of your search for work. We're getting those back. Many of them look fine, which means they won't hear from us again, or maybe they'll be selected in the future. But some of them need to be reviewed further. So we're going to have to set those people up for an administrative review. They should know that we're taking this very seriously, that this is not punitive. It's not a punishment. It is meant to help them get back to work. And so people need to be looking for work and keep an accurate record, because we're going to ask. And when we do, you have to provide it. No. I think that's it for me, but I'll answer any questions, Governor.
Thank you. So I just want to say, Rhode Island actually has been a leader on this with this new law. And I noticed that other states have been doing the same thing. Have you been in contact with those other states? Have they called you about it?
I do talk to them, and we are in a professional group with similar agencies from throughout the country. And we all try to help one another, because it's not a competition in so much as we want to do better. We'd like to do it before they do, because we want to make sure Rhode Islanders know that we're acting quickly on their behalf. Yeah. But if we find something that works, we want others to know, just like we want to learn from them when they have things that work. I do see in the private chat, there's a question about, whether there is a clear written policy on DLT's website about how much employees can earn before their unemployment would be impacted. There's information on the website at dlt.ri.gov. There's also a benefits calculator. So someone can use that, and there's a disclaimer for all the lawyers participating. This does not mean this would be someone's exact benefit. This is an estimator, like a loan calculator online. And it tells you if your benefit was this, let's say $100, here's how much you could earn before your benefit was reduced. And when it was reduced, here's how much it would be. So that information is available on DLT's website.
Great, thank you. Another final thing I wanted to tell you, I continue to promote the WorkShare program. So every time I speak to a business owner that tells me they're having challenging hiring and keeping employees, I always talk to them about giving it a try to the WorkShare program. So,
Well, there's information about WorkShare online as well, and I thank you for promoting it. It's a great program. Right now, it's funded through the same time period in September in Rhode Island. After that, employers would pay for WorkShare the same way they pay for any other unemployment claim, but it's still a great tool to keep their employees connected to them if they're facing a downturn in their business.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Director Weldon.
Okay, thank you.
Information. See you next time.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're gonna go to Chris Parisi. Chris, tell us how things are going. What do you hear from the business community?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Governor. You walked the parade twice. That's a lot.
I did.
Do you know how many miles that is?
So each time is 2.5. So I did my 5 miles.
Oh, that's
Did my exercise.
very impressive. And shout out to Billy too. I'm sure he was walking along with you. So yeah, after this weekend, the weather wasn't great, but hopefully some of the small businesses, they were able to get some of the positive consumerism that comes along with the 4th of July weekend. But over at the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, now with the session kind of over for now, we're looking for a few key areas to support our members, and one of them has been regulation and licensing. So we're listening to our members and working with government leaders like Director Liz Tanner, who has been very helpful, and looking for ways of how we can make Rhode Island just simply a more business-friendly state. What are the type of regulations can we remove, edit, tweak, add? How can we make the licensing system more efficient? Such as there's different licensing rules for the municipalities versus the state. There may be even different online e-permitting. So what can we do to make it one cohesive e-permitting online system, and something that, Liz Tanner has been already working on for years. So that's something the small business members are really advocating for. Another one is economic recovery. Yes, some businesses are doing well and have recovered, but not all have. There's some industries that are really struggling still and really hasn't seen, that upward trend that I would say half of the small business industries already have. So what we're doing is we're identifying those industries and proposing solutions, working with like the folks at Commerce. We're trying to always help out our small business community and other organizations to say, all right, here's where we need to focus our dollars and our energy towards to ensure that there's an equitable playing field for those that didn't quite recover. As you're well aware, it's not one size fits all on this recovery. And other than that, Lieutenant Governor, we're just looking at ways of how we can improve our membership services. So we're looking at ways of how we can connect members and host networking events, how we can provide technical assistance and have additional programming so that we can educate our small businesses, so that not only are we advocating and fighting for them for laws and regulations, but we're also supporting them to give them the tools that they need in order to succeed. So that's something that we're going to be publicly launching pretty soon, and we're working on it and excited about in the meantime. So if you want your voice to be heard, you can email us at info@rismallbusiness.org. That way we can connect. We just got a few other great suggestions from our members this past week that we've replied to them and gave them some more information. And if you're not a member yet, you can sign up today at rismallbusiness.org. And one final note is we have our Small Business Live Forum every other Tuesday at 12 p.m. So same time as this one, just every other week. And we've had some great folks like Director Hayward and Weldon. They were both on, as well as Commerce Secretary Pryor, Liz Tanner. And now I think we're going to go to the municipality route and interview some mayors and focus on at the local level.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thank you for keeping up the conversation on the week when I'm not hosting it, and you're continuing to have the conversation and keeping the small businesses engaged. Thank you so much for doing that. So now we're going to we're going to be listening to Tina and Anthony, and we're going to learn a lot about what they have done working in collaboration to make sure that a business is accessible to those with mobility challenges. So I'm going to bring over Tina and Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So how can you tell us how working in collaboration, RAM and with you, Anthony, how you make this possible for your business to be more accessible to those with mobility issues? So I don't know which one of the two of you wants to go first.
I'm just going to start by saying that how I met Tina was at the Downtown Neighborhood Association. She had come and she was trying to present to us for the city of Providence how we can be more accessible as a city. And we have a lot of business owners when I was on the board of the DNA. And I walked up to Tina afterwards and we had a conversation. And it was one of the best conversations I ever had, because about a month later, Tina was the person I called directly, only after meeting her once, because I really wanted to learn how I, as an individual business owner, not only could, but should, what I should do. I didn't have quite the understanding I needed for accessibility, and Tina was instrumental in really guiding me through this. She calls it a roll through. She'll do a roll through at your business, and she came down and did one for me, and that's how we began our collaboration.
Thank you. Tina, you're muted. Do you want to check your microphone? Okay.
Tina, I think that you might have gotten a phone call or something during the beginning part of this. I'm just going to ask you to sign back in for a second real quick on the phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear your your browser.
All right, so let's continue with Anthony. So
So,
Anthony,
yeah.
I have to tell you, I met Tina because she came to City Hall for a rally, and her voice was very strong and very passionate also. So let's see, she's back here. Tina, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys fine. Can you hear me?
Perfect,
Yeah.
we can hear you now. So
Well, I've
ahead.
never had a loss for words, that's for sure.
You're in good company with the three of us and everyone
Right?
else.
Yeah, I mean, what RAMP does is so instrumental to Providence, because during COVID, what I like to say to everybody is you all got a view, a small glimpse of what the disability community deals with on a daily basis. You couldn't go out, you couldn't enter businesses, you couldn't be with your family and friends. We live that every day, whether there's a pandemic or not. And now that I've worked with so many businesses during COVID, we want you to take us with you when you open up, because it's only going to help and encourage your bottom line by allowing more people to come in and to be part of your business. Working with Anthony, what was it, 3 or 4 people from the community that ended up stepping forward once you became accessible,
Yes.
started using your business. You know, you get a lot that people say, well, I don't get a lot of wheelchair users. You don't get a lot of wheelchair users because you're not accessible. Once you're accessible, you will.
But I do think that's an important point, Tina, to expand on, because what happens is people say, well, how much am I going to get for a return? And I think, although that's very important to all business owners, including me, that shouldn't be the driving factor in this. It's the idea of expanding your business and understanding why you should, not only from an economic point of view, but really from a social point of view, connecting to everyone. And until you understand it, you're right, you won't get any business at all, but you really shouldn't have to just calculate how much. Just to give an example, my Providence location was a much easier first floor fit. Tina did the roll through with me. We had to make some minor changes, things you wouldn't know, how doors open in the restrooms, if they open in or out. This is something I would have thought I was doing okay. The width and the turn radius on some areas. Also your bar. One of the key points I find missing at most restaurants and bars is what I'll call a bar-friendly level for someone who is in an accessibility situation, so that they can roll up and still be at a height level where they can sit and enjoy their cocktail or beverage and converse. So all of this was helpful for me. And although it's not quite a Rhode Island thing, I opened a second location in Worcester. And because I met Tina, all of the missing parts that I would have had to add later were added in the beginning. And that's what I think is important for us. So any new businesses coming down to Rhode Island to have a chance to establish themselves properly, this is instrumental. I do understand, as many of us, that Rhode Island has a lot of buildings that have been around a long time. They're historic. A lot of challenges to adjust them. My second floor of my building, I used to do a lot of Rhode Island Pride events. I was on the board. I could not make it accessible. I just could not do it. We tried. I talked to Tina. I talked to the board. I looked for grants. I couldn't do it. What I eventually ended up doing was I made the decision to take my venue off the table as consideration for any events for the Rhode Island Pride organization, because I just felt that it wasn't fair any longer to have an event without any chance of accessibility. Now, that's a personal choice for me, and I don't expect anyone else to have to do it. But there's some things we can do, and I know Tina can tell us more about that.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't thank Anthony enough. And after meeting Anthony and meeting a lot of other contacts, we touched over 170 businesses here in Rhode Island. Are they all ADA compliant? No. But have they started the process? And that's what's important. We're not trying to make anybody go broke. We want to access your building. We're basically begging you to become accessible so we can give you our money. One of the organizations or businesses that we did a roll through, he called me a month later and he became fully ADA compliant. And he said to me, he said, you know, I don't have a ton of wheelchairs coming through here. I said, well, number one, we're not a gang. We're not a group. And, you know, we don't, you know, just kind of go out like that. It's not like a motorcycle group, you know. But on the other hand, I said, did you get one or two this month? He says, yes. I said, did they come with 2 or 3 or 4 extra people? He says, yeah, they came in big parties.
Right.
I said, so it wasn't just the person that you opened your business up to. It's all of their family and friends. So now they have a place to go and congregate and be together and make memories. That's what's important. And what's even more important is our state gives tax breaks for people who become ADA compliant. 50% tax break for Rhode Island, on top of a 10% federal tax break that you can get to start the process. We did a roll through for one of the oldest libraries in Providence. Their first words out of their mouth to me were, we're going to have to spend upwards between $50,000 and $100,000 to be fully ADA compliant. They spent less than $800, and I can access every room in that library, that old library. Are they 100% ADA compliant? No. But can I access every room? Yes. And that is truly the bottom line.
Correct.
You know, doing it slowly, doing it little by little, and knowing the importance. We talk about equity and inclusion and diversity. But if we're skipping disability, we're not doing it right. And we're missing out on amazing people and an amazing community, because we are the largest minority in this country is a disability community. 1 in 4 people have a disability. Now you add the people who are 65 and older. They're not considered disabled, but they use a walker or a wheelchair. By 2030, that is going to be over half of Rhode Island's population. Now, if you don't make your business accessible now, you're going to be missing out on over half of Rhode Island's population by 2030. So let's do it right. And RAMP is all about breaking barriers. We do not charge for what we do. No one can say they can't afford to learn about accessibility. If you like what we do and we benefited your business, make a donation to our organization. But
Tina, I'd like to just ask Lieutenant Governor Matos a question too, if that's okay. Lieutenant Governor? Sure. So one of the things that I think may be helpful, in addition to tax breaks, is possibly working with the Commerce Department and your office. Maybe there could be some kind of grants, matching grants or just percentage grants that would help encourage some of the businesses, because we are coming out of COVID. It's still very challenging for everyone, especially if you didn't get that restaurant revitalization fund, which really could be something that we could utilize when it comes through if Congress follows up with that. But maybe there are some other options to ease the potential worry that there might be to the outlay of funds.
Yes, Anthony, I'm so glad that you're asking that question, because I was going to mention also, I had a conversation with Carrie Saslow from the Providence Revolving Fund, And that small grant, loan/grant that was created during COVID to help the small business is available for those businesses that would like to be ADA compliant.
Oh, that's
So it's up to $5,000. As Tina said, in many occasions you need way less than that, and it's an easy application, easy to do, and you can have access to those funds to make your business accessible. But here in my office, we continue to look for resources to make it available to small businesses that would like to be compliance with ADA compliance.
A very good point that Tina mentioned, though, that I'd like to reiterate was the misconception of how many people who need accessibility will show up. For my particular business, which is a restaurant bar arcade, Tina's exactly right. I may get someone who has brought someone who needs accessibility, and they came with 15 other people. I recently had a birthday party, and there were 22 people at this birthday party, and 2 people had an accessibility challenge that they needed, which was met at my establishment. They probably never crossed my mind, but they probably would have never chosen my venue to have the birthday party. So I do think we need to get a message out there, as Tina says, really let people open their eyes and ears to hearing not just the direct part of it, but the indirect and extension of this. And I think you'll see more of a return when you'll calculate the cost than you think is there.
That's correct. Definitely. I want to, in the meantime, I'm going to ask for either, oh, they're just doing it right there. You see, I was going to ask Billy and Ben if they can put the link to the revolving fund, but they're too good. They already did it.
No, I mean, it's so important. And then look at something like Federal Hill. There is only actually one restaurant in the entire Federal Hill that I could actually roll into and have the human decency to be able to use their bathroom legitimately. Out of a whole street that we utilize so often. Look at Newport. I can get off a wheelchair accessible sailboat that comes down every year that I work with, and I can ride around for 2 hours and not be able to access one store, one restaurant, or anything because of my wheelchair. Now they have the all inevitable one step. Like a lot of people will say, oh, we'll pick you up. Well, the liability that you're opening yourself up to, one, my chair weighs 350 pounds, and I'm a lady. I'm not telling you what I weigh on top of that. But look at how much, if you lifted somebody, you could break my chair, you could hurt yourself or whatever. For $200, you could get a portable, removable ramp for your one step. Let all of these people in, wheelchair users, walkers, elderly, people who just can't do stairs, baby carriages, knee scooters, in your business to add to your bottom line for $250, and we can just roll right in and we don't want to stand out. We want to roll in and just join the party like everybody else. No misconception. We do not just go out 9 to 5 to go to the doctors. We do have lives outside of 5 o'clock. I want to go out and have a drink. I want to go dancing. I want to play all of Anthony's arcade games. We have lives. We have events. If you have an event coming up, call me up, invite me down. It costs you nothing to come and roll around your event and saying, you need some high tables and low tables. You need to move this a little bit. Maybe this wouldn't be the perfect place for this because you want to have accessibility. I have worked with, and people don't think about it. Look at all of the food truck events we have now. I have worked with so many of them. A little handicap sticker by their doorway, a wooden clipboard to present it out a side door. Now you're not trying to have somebody scream up to you or drop food in their lap from those high windows. You're doing it personally, respectfully, and making that person feel important because they can gather their food, they can do it by themselves, and they can participate. So nobody is immune to making the right decision and including everybody. I mean, everybody knows my story by now. I ended up in a wheelchair from a minor surgery that I suffered a spinal stroke. My life changed in 10 minute. That could happen to anybody. Let's make the world accessible now. And there is ways to do that. And, go to our website and join up. But one thing I do want to mention is we are going to have the first annual Accessibility is Beautiful event at the Steel Yard in Providence on September 18th. We are so excited about this event because it is going to be a marketplace. There's going to be entertainment. There's going to be tours. There's going to be disabled and able-bodied people working and collaborating and enjoying a time together and learning about how we can intertwine. I mean, we can teach you how to hire the disabled people because we're probably going to be the hottest workers you will ever, because we have more to prove. You know, we're going to show you how to become accessible, and the Steel Yard is going to make it beautiful for you. So if you want to inquire about this event, join our mailing list on our website at www.rampisinclusion.com. Invite me down, have a conversation. Let's open the conversation. I would love to tour Providence with you, Lieutenant Governor, and the governor, and show everybody exactly what we're talking about and the minor tweaks to your business so you can add to your bottom line. Again, we're not trying to make you go broke. We're trying to add to your bottom line while including the community. By 2030, if you don't do it now, you're missing out on half of Rhode Island's population.
That's right. Tina, it's something that you mentioned earlier that's so important. I was reading an article about equity, and one of the things that was highlighted is how by making sidewalks accessible, ADA accessible, how everybody else benefit from it. As you said, it could be parents with a stroller. It could be even business carrying things into the business, like having accessibility, making America ADA accessible, help everybody else. So equity is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it
does. It changes the lives for everybody, because there are people among us that walk that you wouldn't realize that they couldn't do stairs, or if you just had a back surgery or a knee surgery, or isn't it a lot safer for your grandmother with her walker to have a ramp to go up than trying to struggle with that walker up a step?
Yes.
Lieutenant Governor,
Yes.
that is a great point you just brought up too. Tina and I also met with another group when we were talking. It was generally about Providence and about the accessible parking, and not necessarily just to have more what they refer to as handicap parking, but to lay out a plan with the cutouts that allow entire accessibility for all of the other parts that you just described. And there's just really no end to the thought that has to go behind this. And I want to thank you personally for giving Tina and I the time to talk about this and encourage others for our great city and our great state to think about becoming more inclusive and accessible to everyone around us, all of our neighbors and friends.
I really want to thank both of you. Tina, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, I just wanted to say, I mean, you know, me and Anthony met at a meeting, two very unlikely people, you know what I mean, in two different worlds came together, and now we're the best of friends. And, you know, we're spreading this message across the country. And look at when he opened his new place, he was thoughtful enough to think of everybody and allow more people to be part of it. And that's all it is open your heart. And what do you have to lose by making a phone call and inviting us down to come and check it out? 31 years of the ADA this year. We could go out of our way and sue every business that's not ADA compliant. Do we want to do that? No. No one's maliciously inaccessible. They don't realize they're not accessible. We want to help you. We want to guide you. We want to find funding for you. We want to make it affordable. And in the bottom line, you can meet amazing people and fun people like me, because I think I'm a lot of fun to be around.
You are a lot of fun.
You have your fun moments. Yes, I'll give you that. Fun moment.
But thank you both for this important conversation. You know, Tina, the governor, and I want to take you on that offer to go and walk the businesses with you for sure, and to roll the businesses with you, all right? Getting it right. So roll the businesses, and anybody who wants Tina to go and do a roll around in your business to see if the business accessible, please reach out to her organization. The website is right there on the screen. I just want to do our final check with Ben. Ben, do we have any questions by any chance?
We don't have any questions. We have a lot of we have comments about how this is a great topic and important, and some thumbs up and prayer hands, and you know, definitely a big thing. I just want to say I love what you, Lieutenant Governor, and Billy are doing with branching out this show and being able to talk about other issues now in addition to the pandemic, that are affecting businesses in the state. I think it's wonderful, and just wonderful leadership from you and your team.
Bravo.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. We said we cannot go back to normal. There's a new normal, and the new normal makes sure that we're going to include everybody.
Better normal.
So thank you all. This has been a great conversation. You know that the doors are open here in my office, and we're going to be working with you hand in hand until we make every business accessible.
Well, we hope to see you at the event on the September 18th, and we'd love for you to be part of our speaking event on that September 18th. So I'd love to connect with you to make sure that's happened. Anthony will be there. I know he will be there.
I'll be honored.
Down if he's not.
I'll be there also.
Perfect.
Great. Thank you. Well, thank you all of you that joined us today for this conversation. This was a great conversation. And as Tina said, she's available to help you to make sure that your business is accessible. Just reach out to her. With that, thank you so much, and see you the following week. Remember, next week, Chris Parisi is going to be doing the conversation, making sure we continue the conversations every week, and I'll be next here with you the following week. Okay? Thank you so much. Good afternoon.